Good evening. You're flying with Pod Squadron podcast. All wings report in. This is Andy Podjob standing by.
This is Tracy Pod Tracer standing by.
And Lexi will be joining us a little bit later. All ships to attack formation, mission objectives to talk about Star Wars and movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from a galaxy far, far away. Today's flight plan will be doing a little prepper for Star Wars Celebration London, as well as talking about the 2-episode season finale of Star Wars The Bad Batch and the Mandalorian episode, or season 3, episode 5, which actually I think is chapter 21, A Pirate. And for all of you out there, all comm channels are open. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe, aka the Chinese Pirate, director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing, as always, is Tracy.
Hi, my name is Tracy, also known as Hot Nerd Girl. Today I'm wearing purple because yesterday was Autism World Awareness Day, and I feel like one of the characters in Bad Batch kind of might be on the spectrum, and we're going to be talking about that later. So I wanted to honor him by wearing some purple.
You're fogging up my goggles here.
Aww. Oh, sorry about that, brown eyes.
Of course, we are just one squad in the fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network right here on YouTube and Facebook. S-Foils to attack position. We're going in. All right. So before we get into the new content for the week, there's a bunch of stuff about to happen this weekend. So this weekend, of course, is that was not intentional. This week
what wasn't intentional? I just dropped some of my drink. Was that what you're talking?
No, you're not looking at the cue sheet, the script sheet. I have a very funny typo. Anyways, so this weekend is Star Wars Celebration. They are going to be in London. Gosh darn it, which means they are in the wrong time zone, and they are. I'm not streaming everything. They're streaming some things. If you recall, as in past years, they usually have the celebration stage where they'll kind of recap the best bits from
like
whatever
the Hall H recap.
Yeah, kind of usually they have, what are their names? The folks from formerly of the Star Wars show, doing just some hosting, and they're just there on the show floor. It's usually pretty fun. And a lot of times when they'll premiere the big trailers, if they are ready to go public with them, once they premiere the trailer in the panel, then they'll run it on the live stream. But that will be on the Star Wars YouTube, which you can look for that. But of course, they are 8 hours ahead of us, so everything is a little bit goofy. Hopefully, they will have it available to stream, and of course, every YouTuber and their mother will be doing all the recaps. So I'm sure we're gonna find out stuff.
I just hope it comes back to Anaheim next year because last year I missed it. I had tickets that I had had since before COVID, and I gave them away so that I could go to my niece's bat mitzvah in New York. So because she is far more important to me than any franchise. But that being said, I also haven't truly experienced the Star Wars Celebration yet because I've either been on panels or taking pictures, and I just really want to experience it. So I really hope that they come back to Anaheim next year.
Yeah, it's celebrate. Last year was the first time I'd done Celebration. It was fun. It was, it's a much more focused con. There is not as much merch because everything is officially licensed. So it's really all about these panels, and that's the hardest thing. Is that if you do not plan well and get into the panels that you want, you can find yourself with some idle time. That said, the best part of any of these conventions is that you are in amongst this community. There are people racing droids, there are people in cosplay, there are artists doing sketches. There's still always a lot to see and a lot of people to interact with. But
Like con fam reunions.
yeah, basically. But that said, some of the big panels that just you can look at the panel schedule on the Celebration website. So the number one kind of kickoff panel is on Friday, April 7th. So that's this coming Friday. And remember, that's 8 hours ahead of us. So that there's
Oh my gosh, it's already this weekend.
so that's like 3 a.m. On Friday. But that will be their first major panel, and that's the Lucasfilm Studios showcase. We'll see. I mean, there is rumor that people are expecting 3 new feature films to be announced. And
not Kevin Feige's.
not Kevin Feige's, not Patty Jenkins, not Ryan Johnson's, not.
Oh, his got canceled too?
Well, I mean, they've never quite. Actually, no, they did say that is no longer in development, right? I mean, honestly, there isn't the last man standing in terms of a film project that has been announced is Taika Waititi. Right?
See, Ryan Johnson to me like messed up the whole vibe of the sequels, so I'm like,
yeah. See, I agree to disagree. Yeah. So day one, the two big panels are Studio Showcase, with hopefully some information about new films, as well as meeting with the various creators from The Mandalorian or the Mandalorian universe, as well as Andor and many others. Did you see that there's a new Paz Vizsla action figure and it looks exactly like Jon Favreau? Oh, really?
You can take the helmet off.
Nice.
And it looks exactly like Jon Favreau, but like super big and buff. And if I was Jon Favreau, I'd be like, yeah.
Also, there's going to be a making of Andor with Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna in attendance. See, these are things like I really wish they would live stream some of these, because I would love to see that. Saturday is a big one. Saturday is a very full schedule, but that is when they are having the Ahsoka panel with Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and probably some of the cast. They haven't announced that yet. But,
wait, this is live action, I'm assuming, with Rosario Dawson?
This is the Ahsoka series, yes.
Okay.
So I would imagine that we'll get a trailer because we still haven't gotten a real trailer yet. And hopefully we will get a release date for that.
So pro tip, I have heard that if you are going to get multiple Osaka signatures, so basically from Rosario Dawson and Ashley Eckstein, get the Ashley Eckstein one first because she won't sign anything Rosario Dawson has already signed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Some tea there.
I mean, I like them both, so I'm no shade, but I'm also like, that's like a little petty, but okay.
That said, I mean, I've also seen them photos together. They seem to be very cordial with one another, and so hopefully
That's the word
it's all
from people
friendly.
who have tried to get her signature.
Interesting. Let's see here. Another big panel will be Star Wars: The High Republic. Basically, this is a big panel for where they are in the High Republic now, and this is a sneak peek of Phase 3. I've missed a lot of Phase 2, honestly. I need to catch up. Honestly, there's too much content. There's too much to catch up on.
Wait, what have you missed in page two? Like, what's an example?
Well, like everything. I mean, I haven't picked up on anything
Are you
since
talking about
Phase
like
1.
comics or
The books, anything.
books? Okay, okay. So
I
you're
mean,
talking
like
about
every
series
yeah.
because
I mean,
you've seen all
I
the
mean,
series.
for High Republic,
TV series? There's no
there there
TV.
there, there
This
hasn't
is
been a
okay.
High
This is the
Republic TV
books. This
series.
is the one that we were talking about like a year ago, right?
Well, this is the whole High Republic, which is what about 800 years
Right. Okay. With
before
the pirates who create the storms. We did the book review.
right, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Gotcha.
so
Gotcha.
so we
Gotcha.
yeah, so everything that we covered was in Phase 1. They had just launched Phase 2. And
Gotcha.
there are, and of course then the new Young Jedi Adventures was just released also as part of that as well. And then the Acolyte is supposed to be towards the tail end of the High Republic. So
Sometimes I get High Republic and New Republic scrambled in my brain.
right. Yes, not to be confused with the new or
Sorry.
wait, okay, New Republic, Old Republic, High Republic. Um
Exactly. Thank you. It's not like we have all those with like the Empire, you know? It's just Republic. So I get them a little.
who's striking back this time? And then of course this is also they're celebrating the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. So there is a
You
big
mean
panel
the
for
best
that.
of the original trilogy?
Oh, that's some fighting words, I believe.
Where's Jason? Where's Jason when I need him?
I mean, okay, I'm still gonna stand by Empire, but I will say the
See,
great thing
that's
about
so basic to be like, have Empire be your favorite movie.
well, but here, okay, the thing that I will say about Jedi is that it is the only time a Skywalker is not whiny,
It's the best
right?
of the
It's
original trilogy,
it's
hands down.
it's Luke being like cool guy finally after all those years.
Oh, he's in the all black. He's all cool and
Yeah,
calm and
hmm
collected. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Um,
it's the only version of Luke that I would do.
fair, fair, totally fair.
And apparently
Um,
Leia too. No, actually no. I'm just kidding. That's when she finds out. Just
yes,
kidding.
that's when she finds out. This is also the 15th anniversary of the Clone Wars, and the whole cast is expected to be there.
That's
John,
crazy.
with Dave Filoni, Athena Portillo, Matthew Wood, D. Bradley Baker, Ashley Eckstein, Matt Lanter, James Arnold Taylor are all gonna be there. They were just at another con recently too. I saw them on their
WonderCon?
Instagrams. More recent than that. Can't remember which one. Sunday, they have a Villains of the Sequel Trilogy panel, which is interesting. That's Ian McDermott, Andy Serkis, Gwendolyn Christie talking about the sequel trilogy. Let's see here. More stuff about Andor. Also doing some look backs to, they have some panels for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, as well as Solo. I would love to see Solo get a little bit more love. I did enjoy that movie more than I think it got unfairly judged. Um, and let's see here, a panel from Disney Parks about all of the from Imagineering and things that they are working on and things that they have worked on. Maybe we'll hear new updates to Galactic Star Cruiser, like maybe they dropped the price, maybe, please.
One of these days, y'all need to go on a weekend so I can go with you.
And then Monday, the final day, we get the Bad Batch panel. That's coming up. Of
Wow,
course,
they actually have a Monday? That's pretty crazy.
yeah, maybe that's what they do across the pond. I don't know. But yeah, so their Monday day, they've got a panel with head writer Jennifer Corbett, also executive producer and Athena Portillo, and actors D. Bradley Baker and Michelle Ang. So probably talking a little bit about season 3, or at least announcing season 3, and also kind of wrapping up as we all communally mourn season 2. Also, panel for Star Wars Visions Volume 2. We know that that's supposed to drop, I believe, May 4th. So in just about a month, we'll be getting more Star Wars Visions. That's the anime anthology series. But
yeah, that was good. I really there was a few episodes. I didn't like every episode, but there was a few episodes that were really stood out.
Yeah, I think we should expect to see a couple of the episodes to be sequels to some of the previous Visions episodes, because I think some of the studios are being asked back. But I think
Well, last time it was all from Japan, and aren't they mixing it up this year as far as what countries they're from?
I think so. I think they invited they're making it not exclusively an anime series.
Okay.
That they are inviting a few other animation high profile animation studios, including I think at least one from Paris. So that should be really interesting to see. There is a lot of really high end and wonderful, beautiful animation from France and Europe that
That's
never
not
make it into the
claymation.
well, but that can never make it in anywhere in the Oscars because Disney sucks up a lot of air. But the big studios, Illumination and of course Disney. But yeah, I expect there to be a lot of news this weekend. So keep an eye out for all of that, and we'll recap and talk about all the
But
biggest.
I like my eyes where they are.
Next week. So did I stall properly? I did stall properly.
Hey! Good timing.
I made it.
Welcome, Lexi. You are here just in time as we jump into talking about Bad Batch Season 2, Episodes 15 and 16, The Summit, and was it Plan 99?
Just in time to rip my heart out all over again. So I'm so glad I made it. No, really, not really. No.
All right, Tracy, would you like to do the honors?
Why has this become my thing?
Because I talk too much.
Every week now for the last 3 weeks, I've been like,
It's consistent.
Okay, well, now I know that this is going to be an ongoing thing. I feel like I can be a little bit more prepared for it.
But the not prepared is for the best part.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like we end up going on tangents because I forget things, but I'll try, you guys. I'll try.
We believe in you.
Okay, well, I know that this one is called The Summit, episode 15. And we start with Tech. He's kind of like he's gone through the message, or like all the files rather, that Echo and Rex brought him, right? And one of the things that he's learned about is what Hemlock is doing, but they don't know how to like track him per se, or they find in the transmission where he's going to be at a meeting. So they decide to go to this meeting and so that they can try and rescue Crosshair and the other clones that they're assuming are imprisoned on, but they don't know where.
Yeah.
So
Basically trying to find Cantus, but they don't know that yet.
Right. Like the big thing is to rescue Crosshair and make sure, and any other clones. So, so let's see. Hold on, let me think. Um,
Before they leave,
there's
he
before
talks
they leave,
to
Fee and Tech, like Fee's like basically like Tech, like, you aren't gonna say goodbye, and he's like, well, am I supposed to be giving you a report? And she's like, oh, idiot. Like he's just like so like an oblivious nincompoop, which I have totally been in my life, so I can totally say that. But I totally get it too, because of all of them. Like Tech would be the one that I would totally go for, like, because he's like super cute and nerdy, and I like that. But she basically, like, without actually slapping you across the face, like verbally slaps him across the face and was like, dude, I like you. And but he still like doesn't get it. So, but he's like, I'll be back. It's fine. Famous last words. So they figure out a way to put like a tracking thing on Hemlock's ship, so they're able to follow him. I don't remember how they put a tracking thing on Hemlock's ship, to be perfectly honest, but I know that they somehow do that, because I remember
Omega does that.
thinking, oh, is it Omega? Okay. Because I remember thinking it was like when Vader was tracking Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon, and that like stuck in my brain. And anyway, so then they go to oh, I spelled it phonetically on here. Iriadu, which
Yes.
is Tarkin's home planet, which kind of is like 300, if I remember correctly, and that like the young people have to go and like hunt these crazy beasts in order to be like a manly man or a womanly woman or whatever. So it's kind of like a brutal way to grow up, which is one of the reasons why I think Tarkin is the way that he is, just so cold. But there's this meeting, and the kind of the cool thing about this meeting is that we have these different guests cameos from different parts of the Star Wars universe. So we have Barton Coburn, who helped save Tarkin in the Clone Wars, which is the same episode when Tarkin first met Anakin. We have Hearst Ramadi, who was with Tarkin in Rogue One when they destroyed Jeddah with the Death Star, like the Brainy Death Star. And then we have the guy who was championing the Death Star and who like came up with the idea of the Death Star, Orson Krennic, who was played by Ben Mendelsohn in Rogue One.
who actually
and
comes back to record
Yeah.
one line.
and does the voice in this, which I love that they do that. And then of course, Dr. Hemlock, who was basically like the Mengele of this whole thing. Like he's just like all about, people, like the clones are not people, they're property. And what's the word I'm looking for? Where like selective breeding and stuff like that, genetic
Oh, eugenics guy.
eugenics, yeah, and just like testing on people to like figure out. I mean, like I think of like Mengele and like his study on twins and things like that. Like that's kind of what he wants to do with Omega. So at any rate, they get on there and they find that the base is already being sabotaged, and it turns out that it's Saw Gerrera, totally being Saw Gerrera. But they just kind of close this meeting in lockdown, and it becomes like a panic room. So they're all safe, but now the Bad Batch and Saw Gerrera kind of have conflicting interests. And it kind of ends with everybody kind of trying to escape, and Saw Gerrera has released the bombs, which then screws up their method of escape, and they're kind of left hanging on these like trams that are hanging from cables. And that's kind of where episode 15 cuts off. Right?
Yo.
Yeah.
More or less, you got it.
What do we think? Do we just want to recap the whole thing and talk through all of it?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
So then like they decide that they need to, in order to get this tram moving, Tech has to release some kind of thing. So he goes off, and meantime, oh, that's pretty much it. And then like he ends up saying Plan 99, which of course we know that Clone 99 was the old kind of deformed clone, and we've had bars named after him. The Bad Batch is named after them. But Plan 99 is kind of a code word for a clone sacrificing himself for another clone or defending another clone or breaking through the programming and following their own conscience in order to benefit another clone. So he says that and ends up shooting himself down and falling presumably to his death, but we'll see if that actually sticks. I have my doubts.
We haven't
seen the body. We've only seen the goggles, right? Which is not proof. I feel like that's like a trope in a lot of different things, like Frodo's mithril, shirt. Like I feel like they do that a lot. So until I see a body, I'm not convinced that Tech is gone. But it's a very traumatic thing for Omega. But they're able to get this thing going, and it ends up crashing, and we kind of end up seeing their escape through this really neat thing that they did, where it's through Omega's eyes, but it's very hazy, and she's just seeing bits and pieces. And I feel like it's not only because she's injured, but also because she's very traumatized, because she's seen a lot. Her and Tech have really bonded over the last season. You missed earlier. I said I was wearing purple because yesterday was Autism Day of Awareness, and I feel like that's Tech kind of represents that in the Bad Batch. So I kind of wore.
Also, probably why he's super oblivious to being flirted with.
Exactly.
Because I know I am.
I have been asked if I am autistic before, and I was like, I don't think so.
My boyfriend wasn't either. I don't think we ever would have figured that out.
Just oblivious sometimes. Oh, a gondola. Thank you, Danny. It's a gondola. Anyway, so of all the places that they can choose to have Omega healed, they choose Sid's place, which gives us the AZ droid again. But that, of course, if they've been leading up this whole season to the possibility of Sid betraying them. So, of course, we all know that that's what's going to happen in this episode. And in fact, it is. And Dr. Hemlock comes to collect Omega and is able to do so despite Hunter and Wrecker's best efforts. And, he's trying to manipulate Omega by dangling Nala Se. And then we get another big kind of cliffhanger. And I know we kind of talked about this last week about the possibilities of Dr. Scalder, which is Keisha Castle Hughes's character, and what she might be. I know it was kind of thrown out there that she might be the mother of Pershing, but also that the idea that maybe she was a clone as well. And it turns out that was correct, that she actually is a clone, and she's like the other female clone, kind of sister to Omega, and it looks like I'm frozen, and that's a very fun position, but hopefully that comes back. At least you can still hear me. And that's kind of where we end the season.
Yes, well, but we also see with Omega is reunited with an unconscious Crosshair.
Yes,
too.
Very true.
Which also explains why she was so interested in trying to save Crosshair, who's another altered clone.
And if he somehow sensed that, and that's why he just stunned her, because that's what the clones always do to each other. They always stun them and don't shoot to kill.
Yeah. So, this got very dark. I was not expecting that. I was very surprised they made that play. For Tech, yeah.
Really? Oh, hi. Rodney.
Once it happened, I was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. So they have given Tech a bunch of different stories and like emphasis this season. So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So they were setting this up, and of course,
and a love interest,
and the thing with Fee, yeah. I was like, so like once it happened, I was like, oh yeah, okay, they've been working on this.
Yeah, when he had that last conversation with her, I was like, oh no.
Oh, you're gonna die, motherfucker.
Oh, damn it. Oh, Tech.
But like I said, I'm not convinced he's dead.
Well, I mean, okay, so there are a number of things. So once again, also I want to point out that we did have yet again another Indiana Jones homage, right? Where both Wrecker and Hunter have been captured and are being walked out by Hemlock, and of course Omega defies orders, much like Tech says, his dying words, when have we ever followed orders? She does not run away and escape and find Echo. She comes back and she gets the high ground, and she's got Hemlock in her sights, and she's like, let them go. And I'm like, that's a scene right out of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And Hemlock, much like in Indiana Jones, kind of talks her down, and then it turns into a fight. But that is of course how she is captured. But I mean, consistent this whole season with all of these little Indiana Jones nods. I was like, okay, way to go.
I think I have a theory. I think that Sid obviously felt really guilty about it.
Yes,
I think that she's going to feel so guilty about it that she's actually going to help them break Omega out.
I hope you're right about that, because otherwise her reaction to the whole thing, where he's like, yeah, you can go, and she's like, well, shit, and kind of walks off all sad with her money. It would be nice if they made good on that reaction, which was a subtle one, but it was definitely there. And speaking of subtle reactions, when Tarkin feels the bombs go off, I noticed the only thing that really shifts are his hands just kind of curl up a little bit. I was like, oh, that was good. His expression doesn't really change. He just kind of takes a breath and his fingers just kind of clench a little bit and unclench. And I'm like,
nice.
Okay, that's great.
Hemlock had kind of an interesting hand thing too, where he was just sort of like rubbing like that spot between your thumb and your forefinger or something. Where he was just kind of doing that a little bit of like mustache evil twirling.
Yeah.
I think Fee's gonna help though. I think Fee's gonna help, and I think that the little girl who's like the mayor's daughter, I can't think of her name right now, but I think somehow she's gonna like stow away and help.
I can picture Fee coming after Sid and being like, you did what now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The trick too is that they don't know, they still do not know, like their plan to track to Tantus did not work. So they have nowhere to nowhere to go other than Sid, right?
Oh.
Whether they force Sid to find out how did you contact Hemlock, or that's their only lead, right?
That's kind of the part that I missed though, was before Omega is taken by Dr. Hemlock, Hunter has told her, look, we think it's probably best if we just settle down on Pabu and give up the military life. Is that what you would like?
Right.
And Omega agrees.
Yeah. This is of course particularly after they've now lost someone, right? I mean, and that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Of as competent as we've seen Omega get this year, she's not a soldier, right? Like she's still a kid, and I think they really played the impact of that.
Yeah.
Well, she's lost Crosshair in a way. She's lost Nalase in a way. She's lost
but not like
Echo
this.
in a way. Exactly. This is the first full-on death.
Yeah. And I do agree with you guys. We're definitely going to see him again. There was something about him falling into the misty chasm that was a little too
Gandalf.
Actually, a little bit too Winter Soldiery to me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so that to me, I go, okay, so we've got Omega with Crosshair, and Crosshair has his opportunity to redeem by escaping and maybe getting help from the other Omega clone or whatever she ends up being. That's a interesting little
Dude, they're gonna totally pull a Winter Soldier and they're gonna recover his body because he had the goggles. So they totally recovered the body, and he's in some secret room somewhere in the Mount Tontu.
and so can you just imagine getting to halfway in the season, next season, and they get attacked by first generation dark troopers, and inside the RoboCop body is Tech.
Ooh,
that would really hurt.
Yeah.
They might just do that to us. That would hurt.
Yeah. That's my prediction.
Okay, well, y'all heard it here first. Peter wants to see a darker Omega with Crosshair next season, believing their brothers are dead and what, like going rogue and just like going on like a killing spree.
Well, she's got to get out of Mount Tantus first. I mean, that's the other thing too, of right. How much time is she going to spend in Mount Tantus? How much are we going to get to learn about what is actually going on with those cloning experiments there, right?
And is Dr. Skalder gonna like somehow protect her and keep her from the worst of it?
Wait, which is Skalder?
That's the Keisha Castle Hughes. That's
I didn't realize she had a name.
If Omega goes dark, you could really have the potential for like a comic book anti-hero like line where she's like, takes a shot with her bow. I'm Omega because I'm the last thing you'll ever see.
Nice.
I want to know. So her name is Dr. Skalder, but if she's a clone and presumably, I mean, she's older than Omega, so maybe the first female clone, like, is she like Alpha? Like, what was her clone name?
Well, okay, but remember, so Boba Fett is Alpha, right? That was the whole thing. And the thing from season 1 was that Boba Fett and Omega are the only unaltered clones.
Right.
So presumably, you said her name was Skalder? Presumably Skalder has advanced aging. So presumably she's probably also younger than Omega, just like the Bad Batch and all the other soldiers.
But she's been with Hemlock and on Tantus. Maybe he cloned her somehow.
I mean, or she's left over. I mean, it's interesting that she seems to be doing all of this kind of medical work and a cloning technician, but we also remember that Omega was being trained by Nala Se.
That, yes.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that'll be a really interesting storyline.
So she might have been before and then got swooped somehow by the Empire.
So I have another, and this is like, I don't even know where this fits into the conversation, but I'm just going to blurt it out in here and now, because we've been seeing all kinds of stuff with, of course, this theme of what's happening with the clones in this show, and then everything with Dr. Pershing's in the Mandalorian. And then it suddenly occurred to me, well, okay, so recently there was also a bit of a scoop that someone they're reporting that they've seen Andy Serkis shooting on the set of Andor season 2. And it suddenly occurred to me, so if he did not die and he was presumably recaptured by the Imperials, then Kino Loy's genetic material could still be like useful to the Empire. Like,
but also Andy Serkis could be playing anything.
Well, but Andy Serkis has played 2 characters.
Yeah.
Kino Loy and
Snoke.
And Snoke, we know, is basically a strand cast.
Okay.
Are you picking up what I'm throwing down?
I am. I'm just wondering why they would choose Kino Loy's DNA set for that.
Yeah, he's got a big voice. Like, oh, I need that voice. That's a good leader voice. I don't know.
I feel like that was just an opportunity for Andy Serkis to have a face character. I don't know that that's gonna.
I mean, yes, but once he's there, why not?
I don't see him having anything to do with the Snoke clone. And now maybe Kino Loy might have something to do, in the next storyline. Like somehow he was able to escape, even though he couldn't swim and all that. But
somehow Kino Loy escaped.
I would like to think so, because he was a great character.
Actually, I really would.
Yeah. But I could see that, but I don't think I feel like Kino Loy and Snoke are separate things. Ne'er shall they meet, don't cross the streams.
I'm just saying, I'm seeing so much stuff that indicates that Filoni is trying to redeem the sequel trilogy.
Well, we saw, I mean, I know we haven't moved on to The Mandalorian, but we see another one of Dave Filoni's characters from Rebels come into live action in this episode of Mandalorian, which I know freaked out in a good way. Like people were screaming at their TVs and things like that.
He looks good. We'll get to that. We'll get to
What
that.
if Snoke's DNA chain came from Pershing? What if that's all they could say anyway?
So we know on Nassara they had that cloning facility, right? And there was a bunch of what looked like. Okay, this is going way back in my memory, but there was a bunch of like.
You mean Navarro or
Navarro? Sorry, what did I say? Nassaro. Oh, sorry. My boyfriend is in Costa Rica right now, so Nassaro is a place in Costa Rica. Anyway, I digress. Navarro, they had that secret cloning facility, right? And there was all those tubes with what looked like pre-Snokes in them, right?
And his talk when he gives his TED talk at the Opera House, he was talking about strandcasts, about taking various traits from various donors and combining them.
See, I feel like Snoke looks the way he does because it's partially from Palpatine. It's partially from Grogu. It's partially from whatever other source, clones maybe, right? It's partially, there's all these different factors. I just don't think it has anything to do with, I just blanked on his name again. Andy Serkis's character.
Kino Loy.
Thank you.
You never know, right? I mean, for as big of a galaxy as it is, it's also a very small galaxy, as all these characters.
Maybe they needed him for his resilience. It would all fall apart. I don't know.
We just really liked his bone structure.
Yes. It's Palpatine going, oh, look at his voice. His voice is much more booming than mine. All right. Any other things? So, other things about Bad Batch. How did you guys feel about the season?
There was a mention of Stardust, which I don't remember where it was, but I pointed it out, or I wrote it down because that's the whole thing. That was the Death Star's code name, and that was because of Rogue One. What's her name?
Jyn Erso.
Jyn Erso, thank you. That was her dad, of course, who did that. Wrecker's sadness about not being able to blow things up was like, I felt that in my soul.
One of the best comedy moments in both seasons was...
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Was, we have to be careful. Everyone looks back at Wrecker.
Precise. We have to be precise.
We've got 30 seconds and we have to be precise.
What?
I can do it. You remind me of I can do it on my own. Let's see. Nope, that's all I got.
So whole season overview, guys. How did you feel about the season as a whole?
I thought the start was a little wandery, but as we discussed, I kind of ended up not hating the wandery, aimless feeling so much once I thought, well, maybe this is form following function, with them feeling kind of lost, and then it got more momentum built and more direction and more precision as they decided what they wanted to do.
I agree. I mean, I know there have been people in the fan community who have kind of been like, well, there were a lot of filler episodes, but I mean, like, in hindsight, when you look at it all, there has been so much wonderful use of theme, and it is still this situation of being in this era of like the early days of the Empire as they start to tighten things, as they kind of establish, but it's also these themes of who are the clones? Are they men or are they droids? Or rather, they're men, not droids. They have their own will. They have consciences, and they, have to figure out what they are if they are not soldiers anymore. All the stuff with Chuchi and protecting these veterans' rights and all of that. There's just been a lot of really good use of theme. That when I think if you go back and you rewatch the whole season, you can see everything was every step was very intentional.
I we had few crosshair episodes until the end, and I also feel like that was strategic, and
Mm.
it was a relief I don't know, relief's not the right word, but y'all get what I'm getting at, to see some character development that was not shoehorned in. It seemed very organic. I was so pleased with that.
Yeah.
All across here's character development this season. And then just little shout out to Stephen Stanton, who's voicing Grand Moff Tarkin, because my boyfriend is a huge like Star Wars trivia kind of fan, and he was folding laundry and had his back to the TV, and he's like, okay, I don't know who's playing Tarkin, but I could tell that was him, and I know that I know that it's a different actor. But he's whoever they got, and I was like, I'll look him up. So
Aw.
yeah, shout out to him. He's like, he does a really great Tarkin. So I feel like he deserves a little like yay for that. Because that's such an iconic role. Seeing Omega get to grow from, develop into a functional member of the team that they don't feel like they have to baby.
Yeah.
And her not necessarily feeling like she has to. I mean, at the beginning of the season she did, but going from feeling like she has to prove herself and earn her keep in a way, to just feeling secure with her brothers, which again makes it that much heavier when she, loses one.
And when she is lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, also just a lot of just really interesting kind of moral conundrums throughout the season with all of these. You had the kind of artful dodger kind of character, or no, I guess not dodger. What's the other the mining planet?
Oliver?
Yeah, well,
Oh.
I mean, yeah, the villain character,
The little
Mako.
kid. Yeah.
No, the villain, the Mako, who is basically right. I mean,
the Fagin kind of.
Yeah, thank you. That's what it is. Fagin. You had the kind of the Fagin figure. You had kind of a microcosm of how fascism, or how like ultra capitalism breeds from fascism. How there's this like how people live in fascism, right? And what it forces people to do, and how people lose their humanity or try to find their humanity, whether it's Sid kind of selling them out, or yeah, the kind of Mako forcing all of the minor kids to fight for scraps, or the clones trying to decide whether or not they should desert or not.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we only have like 13 minutes to talk about The Mandalorian.
Yeah. That's which is why I've been trying to wrap up, and as we talk about the whole season. So yeah.
And if I have a weird facial expression, it's because there's some animal making some kind of noise outside my window, and I'm like, what is that? Sounds like a werewolf. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Been watching too much Supernatural. Anyway.
Right. So yeah. Any other things we want to cover, or things?
No.
Other predictions?
Second season was better than the first. Let's go to Mandalorian.
All right.
Because even though it was like, I want to talk, because even though it was a tease, I'm so glad we got Zeb.
Oh yeah.
which I don't think we've ever talked about it before. But one of the reasons that I've always loved Zeb's character so much, and the moment back in Rebels when they use him as like when they're trying to find the Wookiees, and they're like, we've got another Wookiee prisoner, and they're like, this isn't a Wookiee, and they're like, it's a rare hairless Wookiee, and he's like, rah, kind of like, what the hell, guys, right? Zeb's character design was actually one of the original proposed character designs for Chewbacca.
Yep.
So just for anybody who's not,
Also, his CG model looks great. Like
So
the
good.
textures.
It
I mean,
such a tease.
yeah, it was great, and the same.
It almost looked like practical effects. It was really good.
It was very good. Okay, so quick summary here. So of course, Pirate King, Orion
I've
Shard.
been fired, apparently. Fine, whatever. It's cool.
You're complaining about we only have 15 minutes.
You do you, boo.
Okay, so the Pirate King attacks
Pirate
Navarro.
King's attacks
Budget Davy
Navarro.
Jones, Seaweed Davy Jones attacks Navarro.
And then we have Carson Teva finds out, and he can't act on it because the Republic is corrupt and shady ass. What's her name is
Moff Tarkin
getting in the way.
Get in the way, yeah.
And then so he goes and
But
finds
Colonel Ladies Man, it feels bad about it, kind of a little bit.
So then Teva goes in and he finds the Mandalorians and he's like, I am so sorry. I am busting in on your guys' conclave and I know
and
you're
I promise I won't tell, but my
Even though I
buddy
know you're
R5 told
Who's
me
a
how to get
legit
here.
war hero? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Din and Din makes a case to go help what's his name
Navarro.
again? High Magistrate
Karga.
Karga. And surprisingly enough, Paz Vizsla comes out in support of them.
He had us in the first half. That speech.
Yes. And then of course Bo comes up with a cool ass plan. They make an attack run, and of course the N1 starfighter is too fast, and it's a perfect diversion as it allows them to do a drop. You get a bunch of cool fighting as the Mandalorians attack the city. Fight.
Oh, I like the little detail where
win.
I'm blanking out on what the little critters are. The big old ears.
Oh yes, the monkey lizards.
Yeah, but the monkey is just like the pirates were shooting at them, and then when like the Mandalorians are looking for the pirates, they're
"That
like,
way."
"The assholes are that way."
We also get the little Babu Frick guys that are like looking out the mail slot and going, ah!
Are they
Stole the baby.
Antellans, I think. I'm not.
Antellans, yes.
Is that the race?
I just think of them as Star Wars brownies. From a Scooby Daikini. Sorry.
Basically.
Bad baby, no squeezy.
Yes.
Those guys.
This was a lot of fun. A lot of great action. Some good dogfighting. That pirate ship was awesome.
Yeah,
A lot of like old west Shogun movie tropes with the hero swooping in, and then the townspeople can kind of take off the pickings, they kind of, and at the end there.
I'll say this too. It was like there were not like more combatants than there were in Boba Fett's rescuing or defending Tatooine, but it just felt fuller. I don't know how or why.
Two things that I really wanted to. I mean, and I'm sure we're going to cover it, but the first thing is, okay, Grief Karga stepping up and being a genuinely good leader. Like his droid was ready to get him out of there, and he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm getting the people to safety." And he takes off all of his fancy magistrate stuff and walks them out of this burning city.
And forgets to say hi, magistrate, too. Like it knocks him down a peg a little.
Yeah, he has to
Also,
be reminded that oh yeah, that's right. That's what I've been begging you all to call me.
Also, they walk out into the desert. Do you think one of them would have a speeder?
Yeah, you.
I mean, they didn't have time to take their stuff. I don't know what to tell you.
I feel like they also maybe didn't want to make themselves bigger targets.
Fair enough.
Because if you put a bunch of people in a speeder and the pirates start shooting at it, and then we've been talking a lot about, hey, maybe it'll be Din Djarin who, sort of is the catalyst for the way changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really interesting that Bo-Katan is now going to, regardless of how that plays out, going to be a big factor in it with the armor. First of all, the armor taking out the sniper.
Yeah.
Up on the road.
With her hammers.
Yes. Stop, the hammer time.
Yeah. Also, Paz Vizsla with the speech too. That was like I did love the shot of both Din and Bo kind of doing there's like the animated gif of like the two guys who are like
Yeah.
How do you like them like using the armorer's hammer as like their speaking stick?
It's like
oh yeah, I love that. That was hysterical.
Very
I love
Lord
that.
of the Flies.
Yes. I hold the hammer, I talk.
I was really glad to see Paz Vizsla say that though, because I
Yeah,
feel
me
like
too.
they have been such frenemies, but it's like he's not just like some big oaf. Like he's a
Mhm.
critical thinker. Like
Yeah.
and he, now he's a religiously radicalized critical thinker.
And he comes from a
But
line of very aggressive
Yes.
forefathers. And so when he started off on that speech, I was like, come on, man.
See, I still kind of want like some little acknowledgement of Paz Vizsla saying to Bo-Katan, "Oh, you knew my dad, or you knew my uncle, or something like that." Like, what's up
yeah.
with that?
But I think that it shows that his ego doesn't trump the rest of him, right? Like he can take a step back and say, okay, this is what's best for my people. This is
Yeah.
what's, because I think it was him who, when Bo-Katan came out, said she's not wearing her helmet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But as soon as the armorer says she walks both paths, he's like,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
And I
Because
love,
she has proven herself now as being a very capable, above capable military leader in two
Mhm.
different cases now for him, and worth following.
yeah, she brought
So
back his kid, and she brought back new beasts to tame.
so
So
I'm still so torn because I went into the season, you know, dead set on imagining the Watch would be like the crazy radicalized. I mean, there's still time. There's still 3 episodes for them to make a heel turn. But
they
I am so surprised that the Armorer has not made a real heel turn yet.
they it could be another clever little thing that they're doing about how, hey, radicals, this is how you quietly de-radicalize without like abandoning your values, because we see a
Yeah.
lot of extremism in the world today. And
See,
little
I
Well,
don't.
and that
I,
is the interesting thing about her speech to Bo, is her own way of saying what Bo said in the first episode, when she was just saying, "I'm just tired of seeing Mandalorians finding Mandalorians," right? And
Mhm.
so the armor kind of has her thing of our tribes need to be united again, right?
See, I kind of think of it as almost like a microcosm of like Israel, right? Like you have all these
Mm,
different forms of Judaism living in the same spot. And it
sure.
seems like the armor has come to the conclusion that there's different sects, and what needs to happen in order for the Mandalorians to survive is that all these sects need to be able to work together and have each other's backs and respect each other's beliefs, um, in a way that, okay, so this kid's wearing a helmet and this kid's not, but at least they're playing together and we're united
And they're
so that
all
we
learning the
can
same
take.
sparring techniques. Like
Right. So that because she even says like it's time to take back Mandalore. They can't do that with 30 Mandalorians. They
Right.
need everybody to be on board for that. And in
And
order to do that, everybody has to unite under one leader. And as much as she doesn't necessarily agree with Bo-Katan's way of, practicing their religion, for lack of a better word, the fact that the Mythosaur chose Bo-Katan to show itself to says to her more that those little things, those little
Mhm.
details need to just be okay. We need to let those go and look at the bigger picture
and
here.
I
Well,
think it's
well,
a combination of the mythosaur and also the fact that Din Djarin and Bo-Katan's visit to the planet proved I was
mhm.
wrong about this belief I had that the planet is poisoned and cursed.
Right.
I was
Right.
wrong.
Well, that, and also I think there is something interesting about watching Bo adopt the way, right?
Sort of.
Out of, well,
She's
I mean
existing in it and
she's
learning from
existing.
it.
Well, it's like even it's that
She's respectful.
he was not going to remove her helmet until the armor basically asked her to, right?
But it was a
So
sign of respect, though. And her
yeah,
removing her helmet was
that's what I'm
also
saying.
a sign of respect.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Is that watching her walk the way and doing respect by the armor,
Mhm.
I think is a really interesting kind of a statement
Well,
there.
because she's also coming to the same conclusion that they all have to be able to work together. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Lexi.
No, it's all right. It was just a minor, just like from a directing acting standpoint. I loved how she managed to convey like is this a pop quiz kind of energy?
Yeah.
Like take
Is
off
this a trick? Yeah.
Man,
It's a trick
I was
question.
when she was walking Bo-Katan up to Din, I was so expecting, like, again, I would keep expecting the heel turn, and I was expecting the armor to say, okay, she has to fight you for the dark saber, and it ended up
No,
being not
I was
that. And
expecting
I was like,
her to take off her helmet. I was expecting the armor to take off her
Oh, wow,
helmet.
yeah.
Too, I was like, and even if she didn't do it in front of the people, I was expecting her to maybe be like,
Mhm.
okay, girl, let's have a face-to-face moment.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
you know,
And
So-
they put Bo-Katan in this very obvious like ray of light too. Like
Yeah.
it was very like
Lion King.
Lion King, Messiah like style.
Moses, space armor Moses.
And if there's a way for, you know, and the fact that the way is shifting maybe gives Din Djarin a bit of an out to do some kind of ceremonial combat forfeiture to Bo-Katan of the Darksaber.
Well, so here's the other thing, right? So we haven't gotten to the kind of tag at the end of the episode where Carson Teva finds an abandoned Lambda shuttle that
Cool
has
boy.
a big hole in the side. They kind of tease that, because we know that Cara Dune was supposed to be
They
escorting.
should have like showed her arm or something, like some kind of like, or like
Yeah.
her like little tattoo or something. That would have been such
So-
an easy out.
So we know that Cara Dune is supposed to be escorting Moff Gideon to the tribunal. He never made it, and there was
That's-
rumors that he may have escaped. And now we see this Lambda shuttle with no body for New Republic
That's
guards.
the MacGuffin you were looking for, man. That's when you were like, there is no there. Where's the big bad?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
he is.
There it is.
There he is. I mean, he's
Um,
somewhere in the wind, but
But the other thing is that the droid does a scan of the ship, and they find a fragment of Beskar in the
Mhm.
ship, which of course sets up. Is there a rogue faction of
yeah,
Mandalorians? I mean, we do know that Moff Gideon and what's his name, German dude, had a bunch of
Werner
Beskar.
Herzog's, yeah.
Werner Herzog had a bunch, or sitting on a bunch of.
I would like to see what
Like to see
It's
the
a
baby.
trap.
So
It's a
yeah,
plant. I think it's a plant to try and stoke a civil war. type
certainly.
thing.
But it's also, I mean, interesting in terms of, we do know that Koska Reeves and the Night Owls have left Bo behind and
Yeah.
are doing mercenary work. We do know that there were Mandalorians who followed the Empire. They were the first Imperial super commandos that we saw in Rebels, right? Who's that? Was that Gar Saxon? Is that right?
That sounds right, but don't quote me.
Yeah. So whether some of that lore comes back too, as
I
we
hope it does.
find the other Mandalorian tribes, or even, if it's Koska Reeves in charge of, a rogue faction, to make it personal.
I love how the little droid thing detached and became a probe. I don't
Yeah, that
think we've
was
ever
cool.
seen that before on a droid, right?
Yeah, that was a new thing. I was like, oh, that's a good
Really
gag.
cool design thing.
Do you think that Carson Teva, who is the older Asian rebel, or not rebel, but New Republic pilot, do you think that might be a little force sensitive, because he seems to be the only one who senses any kind of danger? He did it when he was trying to recruit Cara Dune in the first season or second season to be.
And then,
He does it again with Tim Meadows' character.
yeah,
Where he's like something bigger is happening here. He's the one who finds the Lambda shuttle.
I think he's just the only guy. He's just the only guy who actually cares about the Outer Rim,
really
right? I
doing
mean,
his
it's like
job.
he's doing the patrols, he's seeing the neighborhood,
He could-
and
yeah.
Although the other three pilots were in the bar,
He
Dave
could just
Filoni and the
Yeah.
other directors.
He could just be used as a foil for the careless people and the complacent people in
Yeah.
the New Republic.
It's the classic one good cop, right?
Yeah.
Setting him up to have his own show.
one can only hope. Oh, I hope so.
I didn't realize that he even got the role in the first place because he had his own pilot cosplay, and the one director who plays the pilot, the female one, he told her like, I bet my cosplay is good enough to be on the show. And that was how he ended up. That's why he has like a whatchamacallit from Tatooine, Rancor. He's got like a Rancor patch.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's because it's like from
That's
his
so
own
cool.
costume or something.
I love that.
I only have one more thing to say about this episode because I know we're running out of time. But one of the things when after the Mandalorians have saved them and High Magistrate is saying, I hereby bequeath them all of these lands from like the mudflats, and then he says to Bullock Canyon. And I think that's really cool because Jeremy Bullock was the original Boba Fett.
Canyon, yeah.
Mhm.
So that was just a nice little nod to him because he passed away. And I don't know. The fact that that was bequeathed to the Mandalorians and Boba Fett was like our original Mandalorian just kind of made my heart crunchy.
Crunchy hearts, we love.
It's also interesting too, right? That idea of the Mandalorians coming out of the darkness, out of the caves,
That's
and
all
living
I
in the
know.
light, right?
Yeah, but it's good.
Yeah. So we have 3 episodes for things to get crazy, right? And as Lexi mentioned, it's like it's interesting. This is I've enjoyed everything this season has done, but it has been like without a obvious inertia, even though a lot of cool things have been happening.
Mhm.
I am excited to see how all of these ideas culminate.
And what happened to IG-11? He's around somewhere. We're gonna
Yeah,
see
they
him
still
come
got to
back.
pay off. That's
The
a
Ambellans
Chekhov's
still got
blaster.
him in the base.
It's definitely
Yeah.
a Chekhov's blaster. Great.
Blaster.
That is our show for today. We'll be back next week to talk about more of this as we have just one episode to talk about, which will be episode 20 or chapter 22 of The Mandalorian.
All
and
these
then we're gonna
episodes are
have-
named like Seinfeld episodes. The blank, the blank,
The
the
blank.
blank.
And then of course we're going to have a lot to talk about after we see what they announce from Star Wars Celebration. So are
We got some crosstalk.
Are we doing a thing? We're doing a thing.
We're doing a
I
thing.
see crosstalkers.
Gentlemen, how's it going?
Chuck, I think you're on mute.
Am I on mute?
Oh, there you
no,
go.
you're back.
Now
You're
I
back.
hear you.
Okay. I was like, am I on mute?
Somebody's got a fire truck.
Yeah, that's I'm in downtown LA. It's a loud, busy place. What are you guys covering this week?
That's a good question. Let me go look at the news today.
Well, of course, we're going to talk the Blue Beetle trailer, right?
That's
Secret
right.
Invasion? What about Secret Invasion trailer?
That
Secret
too.
Invasion.
Yeah.
About Secret
I
Invasion.
wanna- I gotta go watch that.
But Jamie Reyes is a great character. I'm really curious how they pull that off.
Have you seen the trailer yet?
Not the full trailer, only the teaser. How's it look?
The teaser, yeah. And
Yeah.
it looks super fun.
Yeah, it does look fun.
I feel like a bad Latino. I haven't seen it yet. I'm ashamed of la raza. I'm so sorry. In my defense, I was at like a Burning Man leadership retreat all weekend. So
That sounds amazing.
Amazing. I would rather, that's amazing. I would rather be there.
Correct me in that.
there was. Oh, sorry.
Remind me though, it stars the actor who was one of the guys from Reservation Dogs, right?
But no, it's Sholo Mando from Cobra Kai.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh, no way. Okay.
Yeah, he plays Jaime Reyes. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's going to be exciting.
I
Exciting
haven't
little
seen
cat.
Cobra Kai.
They have George Lopez in it
I haven't
too.
seen
Oh, really?
The
Yeah,
first
but
two
you know,
seasons.
the thing is, the way he's got his hair and the way he's got his face stuff, like he's unrecognizable until he starts talking.
Wow.
Rodney,
Yeah.
Rodney says, great seeing a full Mexican family, and I agree.
Yeah, and they said it is undoubtedly like a Mexican family superhero movie. So I thought that
Okay, I'm gonna go watch that immediately after.
It is very Mexican family-ish.
yeah, and it's got George Lopez.
Is
in
there
it,
a-
so I,
But is there a chancla anywhere? Does
Yeah.
it get button with a chancla ever? Because
$10 says there is.
Chancla. Or his mom throws a chancla across the room in the Blue Beetle. Or she's around the
Blue
corner, and she
Beetle
throws
suit
it, and it curves around the corner and is about to hit him. And the Blue Beetle, it has to happen. It has to happen. It has.
That's her weapon of choice.
she's got like
It's like,
like boomerang chancla.
it's his kryptonite. It's like, no, not the chancla.
Like a very family meal. It's
Ma, a chancla por favor, no.
You have to watch. Y'all have to watch. Y'all have to watch it. Also, we're talking about the potential Harry Potter reboot or
that's
boot.
Wait,
interesting.
what?
What?
Yeah.
They're potentially going to do a series, right? It's a series,
Yeah, where
right,
they're
on
gonna take
HBO Max.
take each one of the novels and make it into an
A
entire
season.
series, so that
Wow.
they delve more into the book and not take things out.
Can we do something about J.K. Rowling first, though, please?
Can we wait
And they're
until
gonna
she
pay
dies?
her. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna pay her, and so she can go on Twitter and be like, "See, people love me."
See, that's the thing is that, like, I mean, I have I love the movies and the books. Like, they were a very special place in my heart. But I feel like I can't give her more money. Like, I
don't
already
wanna
have
give her
these
more money.
things.
I don't want to give
Like,
her
but more
Just
money?
Donate it to anti-trans organizations
Right.
and politicians. But I
Still hoping she's
true. I'm excited for the people who get to work on that project because of like cool project for them. But I'm like, man, I don't want to give her more money.
I'm also
I-
like,
It
well,
doesn't need a reboot.
it doesn't need a reboot. I mean,
I don't
Yeah.
know if we need to reboot.
I don't
it.
think it needs a reboot.
I would like to live in the Hogwarts world. I don't know if I need to reboot Hermione, Ron, and
Thank you.
Harry. Yeah.
You
Give
know,
it at least
but
20
yeah.
years.
and
Is
and
it-
I'm in the minority that I've actually kind of managed to enjoy the. I mean, they're not good.
The
but
Fantastic Beasts.
it's like the Fantastic Beasts. They have something there. They just haven't quite figured out.
Yeah.
I ain't figured it out either, Andy. I'm sorry, because I didn't figure out Fantastic Beasts. I don't.
I mean,
And the
that
last
world
one I
there-
wanted to watch because like it's Dumbledore, right?
Yeah.
It's the story of Dumbledore, but it just didn't resonate with me.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. That world is interesting. Just those characters they choose are not interesting.
yeah. That's the thing. I mean, okay. I will say I do really like the character of Newt Scamander, and I like the cojones of
In the
trying
first
to
movie,
do
especially.
a Hufflepuff, non-traditional,
Yeah.
non-alpha hero, right?
Yes, that I
I
appreciate.
really appreciate that. It just they haven't nailed it.
Yeah, they have.
Oh, Danny
That
just
wo-
said it's
Yeah.
been 20 years. Shut up.
Okay, we
20
still
more
don't-
years then.
We still don't need a reboot because we don't have a Jurassic Park 1 reboot, or you know what I mean? Like, and it's been more
No,
like
we
we've
don't
got
need
sequels.
anything.
We have sequels, but we don't have a complete reboot where we're like, oh, let's just pretend that first one. No. We don't need a reboot. Let's just keep making side stories like I want to hear about Fenrir Greyback's oppressed werewolf community and
Right.
please give me Hagrid's giant mom.
Yes.
Right.
We could-
With his
right.
normal sized dad,
Hey,
right?
Luna Lovegood, yes, Luna Lovegood. Like
Right,
I want
and
that.
that-
Anyway.
There was
Yeah.
nothing wrong with those films. There was nothing wrong.
That's why they want to
to
remake it.
Except
bring
the
in
Alfonso
Andy Dufresne.
Cuarón one where he made the werewolf look like a goddamn chihuahua. I was so mad about that. I was like, give me a Van Helsing werewolf. Give me like a Hugh Jackman Anubis looking like fuck beast. No, he was like "Ah!" like I Chihuahua Howl at the Moon.
Well, in his defense, the first two Chris Columbus movies were very like kid friendly, just like the books, right? The books took a turn for the darker in the third movie, and he made the movie way darker than the
But I
first
think
two.
the big, but I
What's
think
good
the
about
big
the movies that
fluffy.
they all grew in darkness and tone as they went. So that was.
But
that
I
was
do
great.
think that the big fluffy Van Helsing werewolf would have been more kid friendly than the naked rat werewolf. That was traumatizing, man. Like, what
I
the hell
agree.
was
I agree.
that?
No, it was bad. You know what happened was they pulled her off the movies. They actually, because the first two movies she was involved in, and they pulled her off.
Well, and
Well-
then and of
Are you
course,
talking about
then she-
JK?
They pulled her off. She only had approval rights. She didn't
But that's a good thing because she can write books. She can't write screen.
yeah. She
Yeah.
And that's
first movie, she had full writer refusal on anything.
I mean,
So
she also wrote the screenplays for the Fantastic Beasts films,
right.
too, right?
Exactly. And that was the problem. And because it was
That was-
overly complicated, it was too much in there. She can write books, she can't write screenplays. And
I will say too, I am interested at this idea of using kind of this wizarding world stuff to kind of lead to the culmination of World War II, which seems like what they're trying to do. It's just moving so slow and things are not. Yeah, it's yeah.
I don't know. They were able to, whoever the writers were able to give us some compelling story and a believable Hogwarts experience and Hogwarts legacy. So give me more of that. I don't need to
Yes.
Harry Potter. I'm good with Daniel Radcliffe, and those folks. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Give me-
Hogwarts Legacy proved that they can make a really good movie.
And
Yeah,
that
that's
very
like somebody
interesting.
saying, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna redo the original trilogy."
That's
Hell,
just weird.
call me sentimental, but I don't want to see a Snape that's not Alan Rickman.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen,
No shade on whoever gets cast. I'm sure they'll be great, but like, and watch them cast someone great and make me feel like cast. But I mean, even if they do cast somebody great, I don't give a shit. I just only want Alan Rickman. Okay.
I
soon.
want
It's
that
too
whole
soon.
thing recast. I just don't
accepted
need
at
it.
this point
Soon.
But Alan
is
Rickman,
the one who played the young Snape. He's the only one that can be accepted.
yeah,
And even as an old Snape, I don't want to see him older.
yeah.
I see more of him and young James, like Harry's parents. Or
Yeah.
something.
Did that,
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver.
Sorry, that just flashed into my
Actually,
head.
I could see
I
that.
just feel like I was-
Okay, for all of that and more, stay tuned. Come back and check out Geek Beast. They'll be on in just a few moments. For us, we are the Pod Squadron. We will be back next Monday once again talking about Chapter 22 of The Mandalorian and a recap of everything cool at Star Wars Celebration. If let's see here, and if you cosplay, if you make fan films, build droids, build models, sell stuff on Etsy, show us how Star Wars has
We
inspired
should
you.
just get rid of
And we-
that.
yeah, we should maybe just get rid of that.
Nobody wants.
No one does
nobody
it.
wants to step up,
This is-
man.
No one step up, damn it. Thank you for joining us here. We're here on the Geekish Network. Please follow Geekish Network on YouTube, Facebook, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining us here. And check out all the schedules for the other great shows like Geek Beast coming up next. And thanks on the flight deck to Rodney. And we are the Pod Squadron. Please check out all of our content on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And for podcast subscriptions, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I am the Chinese Pirate at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms.
I am Tracy the Hot Nerd Girl, and happy heavenly birthday to my Blaine.
Lexi, Feral Geek Aesthetic, now with less catering here.
And all wings return to base. Course laid in, prepared to make the jump to the light speed on my mark. And remember, the truths we cling to depend on our own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night.
Bye. I'm gonna go drink more.
You have to pee.
I like it.
I do have to
Drink
pee,
more.
but that's like a obvious. Like I definitely need to eat something, but I also need to drink more.
I need to eat something because I ran in from work and
Are we still on air? Okay, I was like, are we still on air?
Yeah, we were all there.
Or